Right, guys and girls, so hopefully you can see me. We'll wait for a few of you to get in. Right, we'll let the rooms fill up first and we'll be right back. Right, so we are going to be building the new PC shortly. Wait for you lovely folks to get in it. Right, so we're going to wait for a few more people to jump in, and then once a few more people have jumped in, then we will crack on. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Alright, so we've got Bog has just joined us. So, like I said, we are going to wait for a few more to jump in. But while we're waiting for those people to jump in, we'll show you a few parts. So here is the 11th Gen i7 11700K CPU. We bought a second WD Blue M.2 drive. We have got another one over there in the broken motherboard that we still need to remove. We also got the new motherboard, which is right here. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. This is probably a little bit too close, so we'll use the other camera. So this is the Z490A Prime motherboard in white, black and silver. This is going to look really nice inside the white case. And then we took the 32 gigs of RAM from the previous PC build, and they're right here. So if you guys have been watching, and you all know that Dave doesn't have the greatest of eyes when he doesn't wear his glasses. So this little thing in this baggie right here, so you know the tiny little pins that come on the bottom of the motherboard for the power switch, etc. Well, finally, with one of my motherboards, they finally sent me the pin. So you plug all the little pins into this and then you slot this directly onto the motherboard. So happy fucking days. Right, so yep, there, like I said, we've got the M.2 drive. We've got two of these, which makes up 2 terabytes of M.2 storage. i7 11700K. The Prime motherboard back here. We're still rocking the Zotac Mini 1070 graphics card, still going strong. And then over here we have the 240mm Cooler Master water cooler. That's going back on. And also we have the new RM 850 modular power supply. So if you haven't got a big case and you need to, you know, get rid of some of the wires, you don't have to plug them all in. So there you go. So Bogo's now on both platforms. Right, but other than that, we've got to remove the M.2 drive from the other PC that's over there. Let's get this chat window over here out the way. To be fair though, my YouTube would have been broken because I'm lying in bed, you lazy fat bastard. Right, so how many have we actually got in over here at the minute? There's not many talking. Where the fuck is everybody? It's Sunday. I don't know where you folks are all hiding. Come on, roll up, roll up. Anyways, I suppose we should really crack on with it because I've got a couple of hours where I've evicted the missus and the kids, so I should really build this and get it all in the case ready to go. Otherwise they're going to come back and I'm not going to be done, am I? So let's move this out of the way. Right, so to start off with, we are going to plumb in the RAM. One. Well, let's blow the chat up so I can actually see it. Yo, Shaney Painting. Right, so we're going to drag the chat window that away. And we are going to go appearance. And we're going to drag the chat up. Just like so. 175 should be plenty big enough. Yeah, I put it into the DDL chat, Bogo. Yo, Shaney Painting, you good? Right, so we're 2 sticks of RAM in so far. There's number 3. And number 4 when you're ready to go in. The one nearest to the socket is always a bit of a bitch to get in. Yeah, I don't know where they all are, mate. Let's say, I mean, like, all you guys helped to make this possible, so I would have thought there would have been a few more in to come and see the build, but nevertheless. Right, so this, like I said, this motherboard is going to be rocking 2 of these, which is the WD Blue M.2 drives. This one's a terabyte, and there's also a terabyte over there in the old motherboard that I need to remove. Once that's been done, both of these M.2s will be running in RAID 0. Getting Satan to bed. Yeah, so like I said, we are going to be running 2 of these 1 terabyte M.2 drives together in RAID 0, which basically means that both of these, let's say, these things are absolutely tiny. When you put 2 of these in a board and you run them in a RAID configuration, what happens is this will double up. So it will read 2 of these as 1 drive essentially. So it will read 2 of these 1 terabytes as a 2 terabyte drive. and it also gives double the amount of speed. So this one will have its own speed cache and the other one has its own speed cache. So this one is going in down the bottom down here, and then the other one will be going underneath this little panel here that I'm running my finger across. So we also need the little baggie with the screws in it. And again, these screws are absolutely minute. Which one am I looking for? Right, okay, this motherboard's slightly different. So this M.2 is actually going to need a standoff. So we've got a standoff in the bag, and also a screw in the bag as well. So normally with a lot of these M.2s, they don't require a standoff. You just, you know, you put it in at an angle like this and you push it down, like put the screw into it. But this particular socket, for some strange reason, bearing in mind these screws are uber tiny, I'm going to put this back in and line up which socket the right. So I mean, there is already a standoff there, but it's not tall enough, I don't think. So we're going to put this other standoff, so we'll double up the height of the standoff like that. Put this M.2 back in. Voila, that'll be the one, Chuck, that'll be the one. And so these things are, I mean, Can the camera even focus on that tiny little screw that's between my finger there? Look, I mean, and I'm like a centimetre away from the camera. This is my new PC because my other one, my desk PC died. Oobity tiny. Yeah, so Ash, my desk PC decided to die 4 days ago. I'm surprised you didn't see the goal up on the stream. Oh, that is well too thick. Well, that's... Have we got a thinner? I mean, this fucking screw is so uber tiny. No. Yo, Paul, how's it going, bud? I hate these fucking fiddly screws. fucking little bastards. Got some car parts for Wreckfest this morning, but definitely need to source a graphics card. Well, I don't have a spare one of those because you've had the last one that I had, so yeah, I definitely don't have a spare. Yeah, Paul, I'm all gravy, baby. I am all gravy. Just need to get this built in the next couple of hours before the missus and the sproglings come home. They've all gone out to give me some peace to get this built. I really do need to invest in some small electronic screwdrivers, because my big fat fingers trying to get this uber tiny screw in here is doing me tits in. Oh, you prick. Even if it go in half a fucking turn would be great. Oh, are we going to get somewhere? Wee! Fat fingers, tiny screws, don't go together. Right, one. Now we've got to get this cover off and install number two. Without cursing too much, I guess. Right, just got to grab number two off of this board over here, so bear with me guys, I'm just out of camera shot for the minute. But don't worry, I haven't run away. I'm right here, because here is number two. So this is going to get put into here. Well, that one was a lot less painful. Right, so that is both of the M.2s in and ready to go. Now I've got to put this heat cover back on. You fucking son of a bitch. Again, we'll go back to the fat fingers and small electrical components right here. Stop being a prick all your life. Right, so that be both the M.2s in, 32 gigs of RAM in. Yeah, Paul, I am all good, mate, thank you very much. So it is a lot easier to build everything out of the case, especially when you don't have a great deal of space to manoeuvre things around. So there she is. Don't know if you guys can see that. That is a i7-11700K processor. Just going to release the tension arm on the socket cover. And I'm going to plop this straight into the socket. Give it a little wiggle, make sure it's seated properly. Put the cover back down and we should hear a, oh, it didn't ping off like normal. So there's the socket protector out the way. So we are pretty much set to go to put this in the case now. So if we stand this up so you guys can see it. That camera, there we go. So there's our CPU, 32 gigs of RAM, one M.2 down here, and there's another M.2 underneath the cover there. As I say, this will be running in a RAID configuration, so both of these M.2s will be seen as one drive. So this will be seen as a 2 terabyte drive, but they keep their own speed cache. So that means that it will be double the performance by putting these two into RAID configuration. So we're going to get this rubbish all out of the way. Well, we're just going to sling it over here out of the way. We will do all of the tidying up later on. Screwdriver bit. Right, so we're going to move this out of the way, so give me a minute. Here is the case. This is the case that we've been using for a little while now. This is the NZXT case. It's a very nice case. So that's why I decided to go with a white motherboard as well. Just going to slide the back panel onto this just to keep the wires inside the case while I mount the motherboard, and then we can remove the back cover again afterwards. When mounting the motherboard, so you're going to want everything as flat as possible and everything that could get in the way out of the way. So we're just moving some wiring that is currently in the way out of the way. and then we're going to move the power supply and all of these leads up out of the way as well. Give us more room. So, yo Luke, how's it going, bud? Right, so what we're now going to do is we're going to lift, hopefully, this is going to lift the camera up. Are we going to go up? Nope, I'm doing the wrong one. Right, so we're going to go up a bit, like so. And we're going to look down into the case. So you guys can now see. I'm going to grab the motherboard. And as far as I'm aware, 3 along the bottom, 3 along the top. Okie dokies. So in goes the motherboard, and one nice, really nice thing. Let's tilt you up a bit, see if we can. So if you can see this block at the back, normally a motherboard comes like this one with no I/O shield on it, and then you'd have to snap the I/O shield into the back side of the case. But this one has a full built-in I/O shield and everything on the back. Let's say, see this one? This one's got all of the I/O with no shield on it on the front face here or on the back face. So you would have to put your own I/O shield across here to make it look nice and clean when you put it into the case. But this one has got a full metal VRM and rear I/O cover, so I haven't got to worry about snapping a I/O shield or cover into the back of the case, because there's one already there. So can you guys actually see? I mean, you can see this part of the motherboard. Where can you see to? You can see to there, right? So if we just move this out of the way and we move a little bit closer to you. It is really warm, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open the French doors in the front room, and then, oh, they're already open. They're already open and I'm still melting. That's the joys of being fat, folks. Right. And it's always handy when you're building a computer, get yourself a little plastic bowl, chuck all your screws in there so you don't lose them. Alright, so we are going to mount the motherboard into the case now. Make sure your ratchet screwdrivers drive in the right way as well before you try and tighten up your screws. The thing that I like to do when I'm putting a motherboard in is I always like to work around the perimeter of the motherboard first with the screws. You know, do all your corners first, make sure they're all nipped up, and then go back and add your other screws, because if the perimeter screws don't go in, then you're not, 9 times out of 10 you'll find a problem before you put a central screw in and end up like bowing or bending the motherboard. Right, that's the perimeter screws in. So now it's time to then start going and putting the others in. And remember, these screws on the motherboard are not that big, so don't go to town driving the fuckers so hard into the motherboard that you break it. Just be gentle. Yo Colin, how's it going, bud? Let's say you just got to be gentle, you know, like with these screws. Don't need to go full ham on them. As long as it holds the motherboard in place, then you're golden. Nice one, mate, nice one. Right, so we have... Right, we've got one more that's hiding at the top. We will sort the camera out in a second. We've got one more that I can't see while it's laying down. Right, so there we go. That is the motherboard now in place. Oh, sorry about the noise. Right, so if we drop the camera back down a little bit. Right, sorry for the camera wobble that's about to appear. Right, so there is the, like I said, there is the i7 11700K, 32 gigs of RAM, one M.2 down the bottom of the case here, and there's another one under this shield right there. So that's that all sorted. And for anybody that doesn't know, we are currently running a Zotac Mini 1070 8GB graphics card. People keep saying to me, oh, you know, you should really upgrade that, but I mean, this tiny little graphics card at 8GB is an absolute beast. I mean, like, I can stream and play a game from this card without any issue. But in the future I will upgrade it, and I will be possibly giving this card away to one of the lads to upgrade their computer, and then they can share their graphics card on to somebody else. Hello Mr. Ehan, how are we? So there we go, there's the graphics card in. Just need to nip up a screw. Upgrading my second PC, yay! Well, technically it is your second PC as well, yeah. It's like home away from home when you come over here, isn't it, Ian? Right, so there we go. There's the graphics card nipped up. And like I was saying earlier on, if you remember me saying about the older style. Let me see if I can get this to just come back a little bit and up a little bit. So the old motherboards, you know, if you look at this I/O shield is actually built onto the motherboard. So there is no need to put an I/O shield into the back of the case. You look at the difference. So this was a budget board, and just look how different, you know, like this shield is built onto the motherboard. It's very clean, looks like carbon fiber. It's absolutely stunning. And then you look at this one where you have to pop the I/O shield into the back of the case, and then you need to line all of these up with the I/O. So this is a higher end motherboard, this is a lower budget end one. Oh, I got the sneezes. Got the sneezes. Right, so graphics cards in, motherboards in, CPUs in, RAMs in, M.2s are in. I think the best thing to do next would be to get the power supply, the new power supply. Yo, Celso in the house. Come on, baby. Where you been hiding, Celso? I thought I was going to have to come and hunt you down, Celso. Been hiding away. Oh, Colin, this ain't my first rodeo, baby. This is not my first rodeo. I built this computer, has been built 3 times. The other computer in the other room has been built 2 or 3 times as well. I built Ian's T-Rex's. The hard drives are already in here, bro. The hard drive is down there. That tiny, I don't know if you can see it. What we'll do is we'll push the camera down. See that little blue stick there? There's the hard drive there. That's a 1 terabyte hard drive there. And then, oh, you can't see it, but behind the graphics card there is a second one. So there's 2 times M.2 drives. I'll show you the box. So here, this is what we're running in there, Colin. We've got 2 of these in there, 2 WD Blue M.2, 1 terabyte each. So it works out that we've got 2 terabytes worth of storage. My video card gone, so saving up for one. Yeah, so as you can see, the hard drives are getting smaller and smaller in this day and age. The M.2s are absolutely fantastic. They're really fast, really reliable. So I think the next thing to do is to get the power supply plumbed in. So we're going to need to remove the back cover. So here is the power supply. This is what is called a modular power supply. So you only plug the cables in that you actually need to power the computer and hard drives and stuff like that. Any of the leads that you don't need, you just don't need to bother plugging in. So this makes life so much easier when you're trying to hide all of the cables in the back of the case. I'm all good, bud. Just having some time off the PC. I feel like I need a break. I will need to speak to... Yeah, not a problem, bro. Not a problem. So, yeah, the wires that we are going to need for a definite is the ones to power the graphics card, the 24 pin that goes onto the 24 pin header here, and then we have got a 1 terabyte hybrid SSD/HDD in the bottom of the case as well. So we're going to need a SATA power. Yo, John, how's it going, bud? This is an 800. This is 850 watts power supply, Colin. And like I said, it is all purely modular. So before, on the older style or the non-modular power supplies, you would have a big chunk of wires coming out of a little hole on the side of the power supply. I don't like to run those. I don't recommend people that come to me and ask me to build a PC, I don't recommend that they buy the old style ones either, because if you buy a smaller case similar to one of these, when you then look on the back side of the case around here, by the time, if we just turn the camera up a little bit, right, so on this particular case you can see that we've got one small little gully for wires here, but there is not a lot of depth. I can literally just get my finger in the corner of the case here, so all of these wires have to tuck in that corner, and then I've got all of this bunch of wires that's going to come from here. We've got CPU power is going to go up through, excuse me, right, so CPU power goes up through this slot here, and then the 24 pin goes through this part here, and then you have all of this. If we look down here, by the time the power supply goes in this space here, you've got all this mess of wires that's going to come out of here, and then you've got to find somewhere to store it all. So I mean, with most computers that I build for myself or other people, I will always recommend getting one of these modular power supplies. So out of all of these plugs that are currently here, Right, so if we just sit this here for a minute so you guys can see it. So on this particular power supply, we are going to be using one CPU cable, which is going to run from the bottom to the top corner up here, and then we're also going to be running one graphics card wire, which is going to come up through one of the gullies down the bottom here and connect to the front pin here. 24 pin, which is going to come through the side of the case here and plug into the 24 pin socket right there. And then this one is going to power the hard drive down there. So we're currently using, that's 4 wires. We are going to need one more wire, which is called a Molex connection, which I have over here somewhere. So Molex connections are an older style connection, but they still do the same job. So when you have a set of fans that have like RGB or a fan controller attached to them, i.e. this one here, so this fan controller does RGB and it also powers the fans. So we've got one RGB header, 2, 3 RGB headers that go down into one block, and then it goes down into the actual control unit, which is here, which turns the lights on and off and changes the cycle of the lights. On the end is one of these connectors. These are not really used anymore. This is kind of old school connections, because now they've changed over from Molex and they run a lot of things on SATA data. So instead of this Molex pin, they run on this newer style here. But if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So I had a problem with the motherboard, so we've replaced the motherboard and the CPU, because it wasn't worth spending £100+ on a new motherboard without upgrading the CPU. We was on a Gen 6 i7 7700K, and it was pointless buying a new motherboard just to go with a 7700K. So we ended up going with a 11700K i7 11th generation, which is a 1200 socket, and a Z490 motherboard to go along with it. So the water cooler that I'm using, instead of having like loads of wires coming like out of here and then it all has to then get like plugged in, these 4 wires, when this is in the case, these 4 wires go through the back gully. Like you probably can't see with this other camera, so there's a hole right here, so all of this wires gets hidden going, so this sits in the front of the case like this. These 4 wires go out the back gully there and they plumb into this harness, and then this harness is all hidden around the back. So like I said, with a normal power supply, so how many, I'll show you here, right? So we've got on this particular power supply, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sockets that we can plug in. So if you have a generic power supply where you don't have the option to remove the cables, you're going to have 11 lots of cables. I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm using 5 cables instead of 11. So I only have to hide in the back of the case 5 lots of cables. The other 5 lots of cables is over there in that box, because I don't need them. And if I do need them in the future, then I can take them out of the box and I can plumb them in as needed. But I mean, I'm running 2 1TB M.2 drives, so it's just not necessary. So anyway, we're gonna mount the rear plate for the power supply. And if any of you don't know, when you mount a power supply and you see the fan goes down. Don't put the fan up, because when this goes in there, there's a sheet of metal right here, and this draws air in. So if you've got a graphics card expelling air out, hot air out, and you've got your fan for your power supply pointing up, the hot air comes out of the graphics card, and the power supply sucks in all the hot air. No good, no good. So make sure this is upside down and the fan is at the bottom, because most modern cases, in the bottom of the case, you can see right there is a vent, and there's also a mesh dust cover. So power supply fans go down, just for anybody that didn't know. I've seen it done so many times where somebody has put a power supply in up the wrong way, and then they complain that their computer's overheating and the power supply fan is staying on constantly, when they deliberately bought a power supply that was meant to be silent. And that then turns into a them problem, because they don't look or read instructions. But it is pretty straightforward. When mounting a power supply, you make sure the fan is facing down. Unless you're using a really old case where the power supply mounts in the top of the case, which there are not many of those around anymore, not on the gaming side of things anyway, but on to, you know, they used to mount in here, and then this IO, like this IO shield at the bottom, would not be here, and the motherboard would be pushed down towards the bottom of the case. But like I said, there's not many of those designs cases around anymore, and if they are still around, they're normally like HP Pavilion pre-built machines, not something that you would build yourself. But I am really looking forward to getting this back together and doing a test to see the comparison between the i7-7700K and the 11700K. I know that one's 8 cores 8 threads, and this one is 8 cores 16 threads. Excuse me. Right, so we've now got, not all cases come with a removable power supply shield like this, but the NZXT ones do. And you mount this on first, you plumb all your wires in, you feed your wires through the back of the case, and then you push this in and you put your screws in. If that's not the case with your particular case, then you will have to slide the power supply into the case and then push it backwards towards the back of the case, then put your screws in to hold it in place. I don't have that problem because I'm, like I said, I'm running an NZXT case. So we're going to get all of these wires plumbed into the power supply. And make sure that you always, and I mean always, plug the correct cable into the correct socket. You will damage the pins inside the power supply, or you could cause a short if you plug a wrong cable into, not necessarily just from the unit, but you know, if it says CPU on it, don't try and plug it into the graphics card. You have to bear with me, I need to go and blow my nose, because as I took this all apart, it was a little bit dusty and the dust has gone up my uter, so just give me a sec, I'll be back. I think I blew half my brains out with it, guys, you know. What little brains I did have before one of you cheeky fuckers gets in there first. Alright, so this is the GPU power. So when you're looking for GPU power, you're looking for PCIe on one of these. So PCIe, there we go. And then for the CPU one, again, same thing. You're either going to be looking for CPU or PCIe. And I'll just show you something as well if you've never seen a modular power supply. So on one end, as you can see right here, it's got white text that says CPU. And on the other end, it says nothing. The white end that says CPU goes onto the power supply. This end goes onto the other end. Am I right? Am I wrong? Okay, so this particular power supply is the other way round. So this particular power supply, so on my right, so this power supply is different. So this one over here that came out of the other computer, like I said, this is called a semi-modular power supply. So you have your 24 pin, and you also have your CPU pin already plumbed in, and then you plug the rest of the stuff in that you need. But with the cables that came with this one, all of the white labels go to the power supply, and then all of the other blank ends go to the rest of the components. But with changing from the CX750 to the RM850, it's the opposite way round. I don't know why. They're both Corsair power supplies. I don't understand why the labelling is the opposite way round. It doesn't make much sense to me, to be honest, but it's just the way that they've done it. Right, so there we go. There is all the wires that I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sockets that haven't been used, and 6 sockets of wires. I mean, this is a big fucking chunk of wires just on its own. Could you imagine if I had all of the sockets plugged in, all 11 sockets, and I'd have to hide all of that? You know, and this is why modular power supplies are definitely the way forward. I say a lot of people are still using non-modular power supplies, and to be honest, I don't understand why. You know, like, this is 100% the way forward, because now I can hold on to this end and I can feed all of these wires through the case. Just like so, out the other end, and then it's a case of seating the power supply. Make sure you grab all the cables out of the way. don't run them over as you're inserting the power supply. Let's tilt you down a bit so you can see. There's power supply. So one thing I will also say, when building a PC, if you have any screws or anything left over, don't worry too much. Get yourself a little first aid box like this and put all your spare screws in there. The thing is, there'll come a time where you may take your computer back apart, upgrade it, whatever, and you realise that you've either dropped a screw on the floor and it's fucked off somewhere where you can't find it, and then this is what comes in handy. Jade got this little box for me, put all of my PC screws and spares inside, and she calls it my first aid kit. So always handy to keep hold of spare screws, especially PC screws. I remember building computers back when you know, the gaming on PCs wasn't really a thing, you know, like when I was still quite young. PC gaming wasn't really a thing because it was so damn expensive. I mean, it's still so damn expensive if you want high-end gear. But back then, on the front of the case, you used to pop the front of the case off. So say here, for instance, say this was the front of the case. Let's turn this camera back up. So yeah, imagine this was the front of the case. What you would do is it would have like little push clips, and you'd pull the front of the case would come away, and then behind the case, in these like little screw holes here, you would have loads of spare PC screws all inside the case. So if you ever lost one, you could just pop the front of the case off and you had a whole arsenal's worth of screws in the front of the case. But in this day and age, the manufacturers are so fucking tight that they don't want to give you spare screws. I say it does get a little bit frustrating, you know, like if you're taking over a build from somebody, or somebody else has done some maintenance to somebody else's computer, and then the next time after this person's had their grubby little mitts inside the computer and fucked about and all of that sort of stuff, and then you've got to then come to repair it, exactly like a mechanic. So your mechanic comes along, he doesn't have a fucking Scooby-Doo what he's doing, digs his grubby little hands inside your engine, fucks it up even more, and then you take it to a reliable mechanic, and he goes, well, what the fucking hell's happened here? So you had a problem with your car, you took it to a backstreet alley fucking repair shop, and now you'll have to pay double the price. I say I like to build computers, and the computers that I build, I also maintain them as well for free. Providing if I build you a computer, that you are either willing to bring it to me or ship it to me and pay the shipping to me and the return shipping. I maintain all of my machines that I build for free. Ian, he bought a computer that I built for somebody else. The day that he bought that PC off of the other person, he brought it over to me. I gave it a health check. I made sure all the wires were all plumbed in the right place. I made sure that we done a stress test on it to make sure the thermal paste hadn't burnt out. I did all of that for free. I also built a PC for Calvin, Crash Bash 2207. I also built a PC for Adrian Dunn, Bog 0101. They're also coming over to my house next weekend. They're bringing their PCs back to me. I will tear them down, I'll clean them out, fresh thermal paste, put them all back together, make sure they're in fully working order before they then take them back home again. I don't mind paying out, like this tube of thermal compound is actually Ian's, but this tube of thermal compound is like £7. So this is what's known as Arctic Silver thermal paste. This tube will do in the excess of, I don't know, maybe 10 computers if you use it correctly. So this tuber thermal compound, I've done Ian's old computer with it. I've done this computer when I rebuilt it with the old motherboard and old CPU. I've done my i9 build that's up on the wall with it. Like I said, if I build a computer for somebody, long as they are willing to pay the shipping to get it to me and to get it back to them, I'll maintain it for free. If they want to drive over to my house and they want to come over and have a chinwag and a cup of tea while I do the maintenance, absolutely fine. You crack on, you get in your motor, you drive over to me, we'll get the computer sorted, and then you can take it back home, plumb it all back in. And you know, I normally do my maintenance once a year on my computers, and I always say to the people that I've built the computers for, keep a record, put it in your phone. This PC was built on this day, it needs to go back to Dr. Dave on this day, and happy days. I know you're busy, but could you look at your phone when you get a second? The answer to that one, Jade, is no, I don't. Right, anyway, so that's that sorted out with Jade. But like I say, I'm not out to make mega money building computers. I just enjoy doing it. I just enjoy building computers. I enjoy maintaining computers. You know, I've maintained computers for people that I haven't even built the computers for them. You know, they bring them over to me, they ask me to check them out, that they're overheating or they're running slow. You know, I either do a physical health check or I can do a digital health check over TeamViewer. You know, and again, it doesn't cost money to be nice to people, and this is what I've been saying to so many people over the years. It's not hard to be nice to somebody. You know, if you've got something that somebody needs, not something that somebody wants. A want versus a need is a totally different scenario. Yeah, so like I said, a want versus a need is a totally different scenario, and if it's a want, then, you know, if you can help somebody out with a want, then fair play, you know, nice on you. But if you have something that somebody else needs and you can spare it, fucking spare it. You know, like I said, life is way too damn short to be an arsehole. And I could be an arsehole. Most people call me a cunt on a daily basis. But I'm still a nice person. I will still help anybody out that I can help out. If I have something that somebody needs and I don't need it, then sure, you can have it. You know, it's not too much of an inconvenience. I say life is way too short to be unfortunately, Hunter, the old motherboard is shot. It just doesn't work. That's why we've replaced it. It's just dead. But a friend of mine has already commandeered the CPU from it. So the motherboard is completely and utterly had it. 4-year-old, and it just gave up the ghost. So it's not an old computer. You know, this computer was only 4 years old, but the motherboard went bad. This build here is a i7-11700K CPU. It's a z490A ASUS Prime motherboard, and also a 1070 Zotac 1070 8GB graphics card. So the graphics card came from the old motherboard, the RAM came from the old motherboard, the hard drive came from the old motherboard. So the only thing that's been replaced is the dead motherboard. The power supply was the voltage on the power supply was unreliable, so that's why the power supply also got changed. So the parts, to be honest, the parts are actually not any good to anybody else. So as I say, if the parts were still in decent order, mate, then I would have quite happily sent them away to someone to, you know, to upgrade a computer or something like that. But the fact that the parts are no good, you know, it would cause you more drama to try and get those parts fixed than it would to go and buy new parts. My PC specs are fine, it's just my RAM is shit. Well, I mean, if your computer parts are fine and it's just the RAM, then I would, you know, well, 16 gig of RAM isn't bad. I mean, I run 32 gigs because I'm a streamer and I also play the game from the same computer. You know, it's not, I mean, the only reason that I got 32 gigs of RAM in both of my computers is because I had a graphics card go bad, and the company that I bought the graphics card off gave me credit on their website. They wouldn't give me a refund. They would only give me credit on the website. So I had 16 gig of RAM in this particular machine, and I had another 16 gig of RAM in the other machine. So I took the RAM from the other machine, put it into this one, which made this one 32, and then I ordered 32 gigs of RAM for the other PC. You know, I wouldn't have upgraded if I didn't get the if the graphics card hadn't gone bad. Then I wouldn't have upgraded to the 32 gigs of RAM. It was just an option that was there because I had store credit with that company. I say 32 gigs of RAM is not a necessity. You know, most modern computers only run 16 gig of RAM because that's all they need. Right, so CPU power's plugged in. Graphics card power, 24-pin motherboard connector. Well, that's probably because you haven't set the settings properly, Hunter. If you go onto my channel on YouTube, if you go to Dr. Dave Tech 1 over on YouTube and you go and watch how to set up Streamlabs, you'll see that video has like over 100,000 views. So go and check the video out, see how to set up the Streamlabs software properly. You know, as I say, like I said, this isn't my first rodeo. This isn't the first computer that I've built. It isn't. You know, I've been streaming for 4 years. I taught Dawson Gaming how to stream. I taught Gibbo Gamer 86 how to stream. T-Rex Gamer 92, Boggo 101, Crash Bash 2207. Sniff My Diff, Beast King when he was streaming back a long way ago. You know, like multiple streamers that are out there. I was the ones that, you know, like I went onto TeamViewer, which allows me to control their computer, and I set up all their Streamlabs and all of that sort of stuff for them to go with their computer specs and also their internet speed. So it varies from computer to computer, what components you got inside, how fast and how good they are. It also goes on your internet speed as well. You know, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. I'm just saying over the last 4 years where I've built computers and I've been a streamer, you know, multiple people come to me and they ask me for help for setting up Streamlabs and what components to buy for their computers so they can stream and make their streams better. And, you know, like I said, I'm quite happy to help anybody that I can when I can. You know, it's again, it all comes back down to it's not hard to be nice to people. So somewhere around here we have a small bag of cable ties. Ta-da! So one thing that you want to do if you have a graphics card in your PC, I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see this little extra wire? They do a double loop on the graphics card wire. So if you are running two graphics cards, you can literally loop this other cable either up top or down below to run dual graphics cards. This little prick here, this little 2-pin, this is what you call the little prick. What will happen is if you leave this under here like this, as the computer starts to, you know, the fans start to spin and you get some vibration, this little prick will send these two little pins up into your graphics card fan. And if you're not quick enough to get that little bastard out of there, it will smash up your fan on your graphics card and then you're shit out of luck. Phase Bolt, cheers for the subscribe, bro. So what you're going to do with this little prick is you're going to get a cable tie, just like this little cable tie. And you're going to sort your wire out where you want it. So for me, this case has little slots on the bottom. You probably can't see it right there. But what we're going to do is we're going to get a cable tie, one up the top. So we're going to zip this like so. And once you zipped it, rotate the little black clip so the little black clip is round the back. Get your little side snips wherever I put them. There they are. You get these little side snips and you're going to go in there and you're going to cut that little pigtail off of the end of your cable tie. You're going to get your second cable tie and you're going to go further down this time. So you're going to grab this little prick, remember this 2-pin little prick, you're going to grab that and you're going to cable tie over the top of the actual 2-pin plug. We will zoom in and show you this in a minute. So you can now see there's the 2-pin plug. We've cable tied over the top of it so that little prick ain't going to dance up there under vibration and smash our graphics card fans. Right, so that is cable tied in place. Absolutely hate the way that they do it with the double loop on the graphics card power leads, because who in this fucking day and age runs 2 graphics cards? No one, because we don't support SLI anymore. So manufacturers, stop doing the fucking stupid pigtail on the leads. We don't need it. We don't run SLI. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go down here through the little loopy bit on the case, and we are going to put another cable tie there, just like so, and we're then going to cut off the pigtails of the 2 cable ties that we put in there. And also, don't leave these pigtails inside your computer. Again, these will get inside of your fans and stuff and fuck them up. I've already got the Crew 2, mate. I've already played the Crew 2. I used to play it on a regular basis. Again, same thing, bro. And go back and check the Dr. Dave Tech 1 over on YouTube, and you will see I've been streaming for the last 4 years. I have played most of the games that are already out there. I've built so many computers on that channel, it's unreal. Whereabouts is the CPU located? CPU location is up here. This silver socket is the CPU. So we've now plumbed in the power for the graphics card, the 24 pin up the top there, CPU up in this top corner. You can't quite see it because it's tucked right out the way. And we now need to do the rest. Oh, excuse your ears, guys. So here's the back of the PC. Let's turn that down a little bit. So here, this is the graphics card one coming out the bottom there. So this one is the graphics card cable. So what we're going to do with that one is we are going to loop a cable tie around it. So just to tidy things up. And again, you cut the pigtail off the cable, and you rotate it and tuck it back into the case. So this is the CPU power cable, this one that's going up to the top of the case up there. I don't play iRacing. I used to play iRacing, and I used to play iRacing with Mark Armstrong. I don't play a lot of racing games anymore, to be honest. I play things like Euro Truck. The only really two racing games that I really play are Wreckfest and Formula 1. So Wreckfest is every Friday at 7 PM and Formula 1 is every Thursday at 7 PM. So as you can see, we're trying to lay the cables as flat as possible when it comes to putting the back of the case back on. So always pays to cable tie your cables in the back of your case and make it as tidy as possible, because if it ever breaks and you need to take it apart, then when you do go to take it apart, you ain't met with a shit ton of wires in a complete shit show of a mess. So that cable is going to fit down there perfectly fine, just like that. This is the power for, right, a 450? No, a 450 is not that great for a gaming PC, mate. You want to look at least 650 upwards. My power supply is 850 watts. So this is what happens when the woman goes out the house and she don't take your wallet with you, which makes a change, because nearly every time she goes out the house she takes my wallet with her, but for some reason this time she decided not to. Right. Well, I mean, you can't be running anything high-end from a 450 watt power supply, mate. I'm telling you that now. You can't be running like anything above like a 1050 graphics card on that. No worries, Jade. Yo, Dave K, how's it going, bud? So we are going to start getting into wiring all this back up again. So we've done the, as you can see there, we've done the CPU power going down the back there. That's the 24 pin that goes through the chassis there round to the front. We've plumbed in both of the mechanical hard drives that are in the bottom there. Hunter, mate, I can't. I'm trying to build this. I can't. You know, without having the PC in front of me and knowing what I'm looking at, I can't tell you what each component is inside your PC. It's just physically impossible. You know, when you've got a physical object like this particular PC that's in front of your eyes, I can go, right, this is the back of the motherboard, this is the power supply, this is the top of the case, this is the front of the case, this is the back of the case. You know, it's very hard for you to try and explain what you've got with loads of numbers and stuff without actually seeing it. Let me crack on with this, Hunter, and we can catch up a little bit later and we can possibly see what you've got. Yo, Mr. InZone, how's it going, me treacle? Right, so we have got all of this. All of these. So this is, all of these little skinny fuckers over here are the bane of my life. So all of these little tiny connections here, they need to go onto little pins on the bottom of your motherboard. But hooray, there is a fix, wherever it may be. So, Mr. Raider, if you are out there, and you probably will be watching this later on when it's a video, not live, finally, inside one of my motherboard boxes, I finally got the little magic connector. So this little connector here, I've been looking for one of these on the internet for such a long time, and this finally came inside the box with the motherboard. I've never had one before, because every motherboard that I've bought, Raider says to me, oh, you should have got one of these little connectors inside. And I'm like, mate, I'm telling you now, I didn't get no connector inside. There was no connector. And I've been looking and looking and looking for one of these on the internet for forever. And then I pulled the motherboard out of the box, and then sitting just below the motherboard was this magic little thing. So what you do is these little shitbag cables, which are these little skinny ones. Let's untangle all of this first. So all of these little shitbag individual connectors. So this one that's currently pointing upwards is the hard drive LED. That is, I don't know if you can see. You see how tiny that connector is, boys? Look how big my fingers are compared to that connector. So that little connector takes two of these little micro pins that are on this little doodad. So normally you'd have to take this and you'd have to plumb this onto the bottom of the motherboard on the opposite side, obviously. But because this little doodad came in the box, what you do with these little fucking things, which if motherboard companies and case companies came together and said, oh, instead of having all of these individual little wires, we'll turn it into a plug like this. A little plug like that. That would be absolutely fantastic. 21st fucking century, 2021, and we're still fucking about with little shitbag wires like this. So, anyways, no further ado, this little magic doodad here, instead of fucking about trying to put all them little pricks onto the motherboard, you look for hard drive LED, and that plumbs onto there, like so. And then we've got power switch. I believe that's on the opposite side. Where am I? So we've got that one. That one's already on. And then you probably can't. Can you actually see what I'm doing? Let's turn this camera down a bit. So we've got the hard drive LED light on there, and then we've got the. So then it goes on to single little pricky pins. So this is a single pin. This is the power LED plus terminal. That goes on to there like so. And then we've got the power LED minus pin, which goes on to there. And then we've got the power switch itself, which goes on to there. Right, hang on a sec. PLED. Right, so this is all about arse about face, because it's got two PLEDs and two fucking hard drive LEDs over there. Right, okay, I'm going to plumb these on over here, fuck it. So this little doodad is meant to make life easier, but it's technically made life, yes, it's made life easier in the sense that you can plumb the wires onto this little doodad and then plug the little doodad into the motherboard. But the fact that there is two PLEDs, there's two PLED pluses, there's two PLED minuses on this little doodad. So I'm just going to guess, and we're going to plumb those onto there like so, and we're going to hope it works. So this then needs to be fed up through one of the little grommets like so, and then we have this little blue one is for your USB 3s. So if you've got any USBs on your case that are blue, that is what powers them. And then if you've got any audio jacks in the top of your case, like headphone, microphone, that's what this little one's for. So that one also goes up through the little grommet, but that goes through the second grommet, not the first one, like so. So that's all of the front. So this particular case doesn't have a reset switch, so we've got a power switch, two USB 3s, and a headphone jack and a microphone jack. Not that I use any of the, you know, the headphone or the thingy jack, but you never know. If somebody comes over and they've got a wired headset and they want to use the computer, they can still plug it in and use it. Right, so like I said, this little blue connector that's here, oh, that actually needs to go up through the side of the case, not the bottom grommet, because the thingy is right here, where on the other motherboard it was all the way down the bottom. So when you are changing motherboards and stuff like that, guys, remember to look at a diagram and make sure that it still supports all the connections that your previous motherboard had. Otherwise you'll be up shit's creek without a paddle, as they say. So this is now where we get to the more fiddly bits. So we've got to plumb in this little block. Which I'm presuming this is going to go directly onto there, and we can't see. My big fat chunky hands are blocking out the light. Well, that went on rather smooth. Shit the bed, Fred. Right, now we need the... So what we've got here, front audio. So that one's going to go... Right, front audio connectors now on. The power switch, etc., is all plumbed on. Need to now tidy up the wires. Wow, that connector, it's a little prick because, like I said, it doesn't tell you which side the PLED plus and minus needs to go on because it's printed on both sides. But I'm presuming that most of the connectors will go on the left side, as that's where they normally go, so that's where we put them. So that is that. It's now a case of sorting this jambalaya out round the back, putting the water cooler on, And then once the water cooler's on, we should be able to put a new copy of Windows on. We have also got to plug in our fan hub adapter. That will be, so this one daisy chains into this one, like so. Can you guys hear the wind howling? Right, so that's daisy chained into that one. That's the Molex power that we're going to use shortly. Right, so I just need to tidy up a few wires. You probably can't see me on the cam right now because I'm sunk right down, practically squatting. We need some cable ties. Where did I put them? Around there. There we go. So if we turn this round a little bit, oh sorry for your ears again, my bad. So this is what we're doing, we're just tidying up all of the wiring that's in the bottom. And if you've ever pulled the back cover off of your PC and you've seen this whole little gully down here full of a fucking mess of wires, go and buy yourself a modular power supply. Modular power supply is the way forward. They are the absolute doggies nuts. So I'm going to mount, there's no point cable tying the rest of those wires at the moment without mounting the radiator, because if I cable tie up the cables without mounting the radiator, then I've got another 4 cables that I've got to then cable manage as well. So you might as well mount the radiator in once the radiator's all mounted. Right, there's one. There's 2. 3. And 4. Right, so there the radiator, that's do. Right, so there's the first screw for the water cooler. What's up, folks? You've gone quiet. Come on, talk to me. In zone? Have you put your mate's outfit on yet? There's plenty of housework to be getting on with. Getting rather windy out there. Right. Turn off my light. Put a bit of music on, it's a bit quiet. Right, the rad's in. Yo, welcome back. No, I'm driving. What? Well, are you going to put your mate's outfit on when you get here then, in zone? Right, and for anybody that wants to know, the 1151 socket and the 1200 socket, yes, the water cooler is still supported. Oh, Boggo, it's looking lovely, son. It's looking lovely. Have a look at this. And another question I get, how much of this thermal paste should I put on my CPU? The size of a petit pois small pea. Right in the centre of the chip. And make sure on the end of this nozzle that you, typical, the woman didn't leave me no kitchen roll. So once you put your old thermal paste on, you get some bog roll or some kitchen roll, you clean the tip of the thermal paste applicator, and then you pull the plunger backwards, not inwards, back out the way it came. This depressurizes the thermal paste inside there and it stops it oozing out the top. So once you clean the nib, you then make sure you put the top back on just like so, and make sure you put it on nice and tight. And like I said, you pull the plunger, obviously when you want thermal compound you'll squeeze it inwards. You need to make sure you depressurize it by pulling the plunger back out and clean the nozzle before you put the end back on. Otherwise, if you don't, this end will glue itself to the top of the nib and you won't be able to get no thermal compound out of it anymore. Oh mate, honestly, the white MOBO with a white case, I couldn't resist, Boggo, honestly. And, believe it or not, the white motherboard was actually cheaper than the fucking black and red one. So, as you can see there, guys, we have put a little pea size of compound onto the CPU there. So, we're going to now need the nut. These little things lock on the water cooler to the back plate. So we'll put these up here out of the way. So then, as we apply a bit of pressure, make sure you've got one hand round the back of the case holding on the... This is the REFERRAL playlist, that's why. So once you push the pump onto the back plate, make sure you've got one hand round the back of the case, because if you don't, the back plate will pop out of the back of the case and you won't be able to get to the pins to put the bolts on. Oh, stay on there, you prick. Oh, there they go. I just chucked them all over the floor. Totally forgot they were still up there. Right, so that's one on. Now I've got to find the other three that are through. There's one. There's two. Three, there we go, I found them all. So yeah, like I said, just don't do these up all the way. And he only asked, right, here we go. Gary told all of us that he is going to the store to pick up his outfit for you, and he only wears it if you ask him nicely. I might have to get the missus to slap him about a bit if he don't wear it. He might enjoy a bit of female degradation. Right, yeah, alright Bob, take it easy, man. He would like that, would he? Likes a bit of slap and tickle. And again, the same thing. When building a computer, don't wrench down on the fucking screws like a fucking grease monkey. There's no need. Gently nip them up, that's all it needs. And there we go, there's the water cooler now installed. So I now need to find where the motherboard, they're under there. So this little wire here needs to go out through the back to go to the RGB connector. So I've got two headers up there and two headers down there. But which one be which? Gary only likes mouse slapping him. Oh, mate. Right, so we need a bit of light on the situation. AIO and chassis fan. CPU fan and CPU optional fan. Right, so that is one CPU fan. Now I need to get the other one. I'm sorry if this squeaks across the fucking thing. So this is the top fan. That's the... It's always the fucking way, isn't it? You plumb a wire around where you think it needs to go, and then the bastard thing don't need to go around there. Oh, get down there. Right, there we go. Right, you gonna let me have the cable, please? Thank you very much. Oh, you cunt. You absolute cunt. Fuck nuggets. That cable's just a wee bit too fucking short. Why is it always the fucking way? I mean, it's a fucking smidge. Fucking bastard. No mate, I will probably be playing a little bit of drifting, but I don't know if I'll be streaming or not. Just want a bit of a chilled one, I think. Done farming way too many days this week. Probably play a bit of drifting and then have an early night, to be fair. Right, so now I've got to pull this out to take this out. Take that through out. Plug that into there like so. Oh, melting. So I've had to rotate the fan on the radiator to see if I can get the fan cable to reach up to the CPU fan header. Hopefully, with any luck, we should be alright. Oh, fuck off. Well, if you're up for it, Special K, then we'll crack on for a bit, like on a bit of drifting. But like I said, I won't be streaming it. I just want to chill. Excuse your ears. just got it to fit. Woo, baby! Oh, my back is killing me. Bending over, like over to fucking wire PCs in. My back is killing me. Right, so that's them two fans plumbed in. We've got the water pump plumbed in, the power supplies all plumbed in, front panel connectors are all plumbed in, two M.2s are already plumbed in, the RAM's in, the CPU's in, the thermal paste is on. Need to plumb in This fan up the top needs to plumb in somewhere. Wherever the fucking wire is. Right. Right, that's the top fan plumbed in. Now to do the wiring harness for the RGBs. Oh, fuck me life. Right, there's one. There's two. Where's the other one? One. Two. Three. Somewhere is my box of tricks. Right, so if this works correctly, I should be able to plug this onto there, and then this will then power these other two RGB strips. Hopefully. But you guys, excuse your ears again, guys, sorry. Right, let's tilt that down a little bit. Right, so basically I found another harness, and I also found another two RGB strips. So the plan is to put these in the case and run this harness through the case somewhere. Excuse your ears. So we've got one in the top of the case. There's one in the side of the case. Should be able to run the harness through there. Oh, you're a genius, Dave, aren't you? Does this thing come off and reveal, or is this a solid end? Nope, that's a solid end. Dave, it's a machine. Right, so that RGB is running up there, and that RGB is plumbed onto there. If I take that out, oh, sorry, I'm almost done, Jade. That's a Molex. Where the fuck's that one? Probably make your way home, Jade, if you want. I'm literally wiring the last, wherever the fuck that goes to. I'm still confused with that one. Oh, sorry guys. In everybody's ears. Right. As far as I know, guys, we have literally just got to tidy up the wiring in the back and we're ready to do a test fire. Oh, what that screechy noise. There you go again. Gary, stop fucking talking, mate. Sitting there wondering where the fucking cable ties have gone, and I've knocked them off the fucking side onto the floor. Gary! Oh, I'm doing it again. Look, I've just thrown them on the floor again. Oh. That's the most horriblest sound ever. Right, I need to find a big cable tie, bear with me. Typical bloody woman, can't leave nothing alone. means can't fucking find anything. Ah. Right. That's not going to work like that. Right, well, we're getting there, guys. We are certainly getting there. that. Yo, yo, yo! Probably not seeing much on that back cam this other cam right now, but how you doing, mate? You good? That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Let's fuck that off. I am good, mate. I am. Certainly am. Just trying to get this finished up. Woman and the kids will be on their way home shortly. Oh, and I'm throwing shit all over the floor again. And the one thing I need is not in there. Right. But never fear, I have one here. Right, pair of scissors. Typical, woman never puts nothing back where it's meant to be, and then I can't find it. Bloody women! I wouldn't mind, we've got 3 pairs of scissors in this house and I can't even find one. So I'm just going to tidy up. Yeah, you're just going to tidy up and put it somewhere where I can't bloody find it. If in doubt, use initiative. I had a little paper guillotine thing in there. You know, you lift the little flap up, you slide the paper in, and you. Yep, that certainly did the trick. So what we do is on the back of here, we stick this just like so. And then ta-da! There's number one. We now need to do number two. Sorry about your ears. Right, let's plumb. Honestly, mate, I don't know what it is about women hiding shit. Like, what do they think? I'm gonna poke my fucking eyeballs out with a pair of scissors or something? Right, the rabble's just arrived home, so it's probably going to get a little bit noisy now, guys. Hello? You here? Right, so a few more cable ties and we are practically done. Tell you what, if you guys ever come across a PC that's this clean in the back, you probably know I built it. I can't stand lazy builders that can't be bothered to cable tie and cable management. That's just absolute bull crap, laziness. I mean, there you go, guys. Like, you can see for yourself how clean, tidy. You know, all the cables are cable tied. Doesn't take too much to, you know, look after the back of the case. You put some cable ties on it, tidy it up, make it look nice, and then when you go to slide the back cover on, the back cover actually goes on without any problems. So let's see if we can turn it on. Right, the moment of truth. Right, so here it goes. Let's turn this camera around so you can get a bit of a closer look. Actually, I'll tell you what. I say it's getting a bit noisy in my house because, like I said, the kids are now home. Right, so there you go. You are looking at the PC. Well, that's a good sign. She lit up and got RGBs around the white unit round here. I don't know if you guys can actually see that on the camera. Yeah, you can just about. And also up here in the prime. So that's a good sign. Here we go. Oh, yes. So there you go, it booted up. It's probably not going to boot. Obviously I haven't got it connected to a screen yet, and I haven't got Windows on it yet or anything like that.
But there's life.
It is alive. Yo, Tezza. So, happy days on that one. Well chuffed that it has come alive. Right, let's now see. Green, blue. That's the brightness. Pulse. Changing colour. Pulse in all different colours. Pulse in and out of colours. Static. I think we'll have the fade in and out of the colours on the fans and the water cooler. And then we've also got the other one. So static green. I'm all good, Tez, mate. I'm all good, thank you very much. There we go. There's all the RGBs. Right, well, she's all built, guys, so I think that's going to be the end of that. We're going to love you and leave you. I need to go and install Windows and all of that sort of stuff on it. So thank you very much for joining me, and as always, I've been Dr. Dave. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you to everybody that helped out towards this build. Tezza, you was a massive help. Dave K, Calvin, Bogo, Ian, Dean Lewis, and anybody else that put in, Mr. Viking as well, he put some in. So any of you guys out there that actually helped along with this build, it is much appreciated. And like I said, thank you very much to everybody. Without you guys, this PC wouldn't be back up and running. So much love to you all, and take it easy, and we will see you all. We might stream later, I'm not 100% sure. I do want a nice chilled one this evening, play a bit of drifting. Might go live, not sure, we'll see how we feel a bit